What's going on, folks? Elijah here. Up here at one of my favorite spots to get in a view near my place here in Los Angeles. It's actually in Culver City, the Culver City Scenic Overlook, or Baldwin Hills Scenic Overlook. You can come up here. A lot of people come up here to work out. They got stairs, and they actually do have some good upward hiking trails up here. So it's a good place to really kind of challenge yourself with some outdoor exercise. But I love to just come up here and take in the view. They say, I believe studies show that, going up somewhere high to get a view of the valley below is really good for your mental health. And just, getting in the outdoors and getting out can be a very positive effect for your mental health. And I know, a lot of people are, consigning themselves right now to just staying inside all the time. But throughout this pandemic, I have been encouraging people to make sure you go outside at least once a day. Doesn't mean you can't go outside. It's actually probably one of the safest places you can go is to go outside and engage in some, solo recreation, or maybe just with the people in your household. If you got kids, take the kids out and let them run around. Just you can't interact with people outside your household within 6 feet. Doesn't mean you can't talk to people who are outside your household. You can still talk to people, talk to everyone, and you can still socialize. Here in Los Angeles, the COVID-19 pandemic seems to be subsiding finally, and hopefully that trend will continue so that they can open up more businesses and things like that, because people are really suffering economically here, and that is on top of the physical suffering that a lot of people are enduring due to the pandemic. Luckily, I have a motorcycle, even if it's a small one, which helps me de-stress. So it's time to get back on the old Hello Kitty Punisher here and finish my ride for the day. And this is something that brings me a lot of enjoyment. Really helps my mental health, knowing I got my motorbike here to get me through these tough times in the big city. So, my mental health, mental health this week has been pretty good, I gotta say, and it's been a pretty big heat wave here, pretty hot, and the air is all hazy from all the smoke and ash, but it's been a relatively beautiful weekend here in Los Angeles. Today is the first day that wasn't super hot, so it's actually pretty nice out right now, especially for those of us lucky enough to live on the west side like me. And it's just an awesome, gorgeous day to take a motorcycle ride, even though I'm just a few minutes from my house. I'm not really far, didn't really go far today. And just really get a chance to take things in, get myself stress relief before I go get myself some dinner. I'm not really sure what I want to eat tonight. I might get some vegetarian Indian food. I need to get something else other than cheeseburgers in my body. But coming outside and just enjoying a beautiful sight like this, it really does help your mental health, at least in my opinion. I went to Santa Monica yesterday and kind of looked out over the Pacific Ocean. Got to do a distance picnic with my brother and his wife. Those things. Luckily, I'm like a super introvert, and I'm also like a trained introvert. So this whole isolation and things doesn't really bother me as much, I guess, as it might bother other people who are really social. and they may have a tougher time in these times, I guess. But you can train yourself to be less social, and I guess that's kind of what I want to talk about today too. Is just that 2020. I've had some some good periods of time here in 2020 to kind of really look, really assess my life. Whether that be I had to assess my mental health and address that. I had to assess my physical health and address my physical health as well, which lo and behold, your physical health and your mental health are things that are tied together. So you can really be suffering in both areas. They do have an effect on one another, and I think people really kind of have to look at their mental health as part of their physical health. And it does kind of give you, they are intertwined. Your brain and your, all the rest of the organs in your body are part of your physical being. Obviously, and any one of them can affect your mental health being or your conscious self, unconscious health. So it's definitely something we all have to keep in mind. But I had a lot of time to reassess and kind of really think about my life and like what I am doing. The whole mindfulness spiel. Like, what am I doing? Who am I doing it with? Where am I going in life? Am I really where I need to be? And I guess in some ways, I feel I'm pretty good right now, and kind of, I have a job that I actually like, and I'm actually pretty good, not to boast or be too prideful, but I'm actually pretty good at what I do. I may not make a whole lot of money like a lot of the people out here make, but it's a job that challenges me and gives me new challenges and new stuff to learn. New things to do, new people to meet, and that is something that I have right now. But I kind of feel like I want to do something else. Unlike a lot of people that moved to Los Angeles, I did not move here with Hollywood dreams of becoming an entertainer of some type or anything like that. I really just kind of moved here because I needed more opportunity for a person of color like myself. And I guess that's one of the things about Los Angeles is that, yes, a person of color can find a lot more opportunity here just because it is such a diverse city. In the Midwest, things just weren't going as well for me opportunity-wise. And so I really had to find a way out, and luckily I was able to do that. And it was really just a real. It was really a lot of fun. And a good thing to do was for me to move out here. So I actually just moved out here so I could get a better, regular full-time job, which I was able to do. And I've been lucky enough to have the same full-time job for years now, which I was really having trouble finding that in the Midwest, being just an entry-level guy without a college education. And the way I say there's more opportunity out there is, it's 10 million people in one county here, so there's always somebody losing their job and getting one, at least in the best times. Right now it's the worst time, so it's not necessarily the best time to make a career transition, but if you're out of work, it might be. So it's just one of those things that I really implore people, like if your mental health isn't good, it's time to address it. It's 2020, y'all. I know there's a lot of stigma, and that's, I think, really kept me from addressing my mental health issue, was the stigma that I'm weak if I have to take meds or have to talk to a therapist. I haven't talked to a therapist. I've actually been doing pretty good with just meds, and like I said, I do a lot of other stuff, working out and things like that really can help your mental health. But it's really just there is a lot of stigma, especially for people of color and men, just in general, when it comes to addressing your mental health issues. I know when I told my mom and my aunts that I'm starting antidepressants, they were like, "Oh yeah, I've been on antidepressants for years." Haha. Like what? Okay. So I think for women, it can be a lot different in addressing it. But there definitely are some pitfalls in addressing your mental health, especially for people of color, and especially men of color. Black men or African American men in the United States are often misdiagnosed and often over-medicated. And so, a black kid in America is much more likely to be diagnosed as a schizophrenic rather than being diagnosed as a autistic person. And there's certain things that contribute to that. One of them, in my personal opinion, is the fact that if you're schizophrenic, it allows society to take away some of your rights that other people that are dealing with other mental illnesses do not have to deal with. And when you're autistic, because it was kind of schooled as being a kind of a white person's new mental health disease, you're afforded more privileges, or there's more programs, or in big cities there may be more help for you or your kid who is autistic. And so that is a real discrepancy on mental health treatment in the United States. But and that's why I say, if you're going to seek mental health treatment, beware of the pitfalls. Chances are, if you get mental health treatment, you're going to have to talk to somebody. And one of the infamous questions that African American people are always asked, and I'm assuming they ask people who are not African American the same thing, is whether or not you feel like somebody's watching you. And I'm going to tell you right now, chances are, if you're a person of color, you do feel like somebody's watching you, because we do get watched and spied on, and we got Karens after us, and, all these type of things going on. You've seen the videos, or people following you in the store, which, it may make you feel like people are watching you even when they're not watching you. But you're just going to have to answer no. I hate to tell you that you're going to have to lie. But you're just going to have to lie and say, no, I'm not paranoid. I don't feel like people are watching me. Because chances are they're going to try to get you in the schizophrenic category. And that's, of course, the big black schizophrenic guys, everybody's worst fear, of course, even though from what I've read, most schizophrenics are not violent persons at all. Like less than 1% of them are actually violent schizophrenics. But unfortunately, there is a stereotypes do have a big effect on people's preconceived notions about others in the United States, and it's definitely something that can affect the stigma of getting and seeking mental health treatment. I know I was worried. I thought I could really I was tough. I could be tough and tough my way out of my mental illness. But it's just not the case. You can't tough your way out of it. You're not going to be able to do that. You may be able to do other things other than take meds to help out, but and that's kind of another thing that's kind of happened, I think, also in America, is there's been a big resurgence, at least until the pandemic, of not putting people on medication for their mental health. And they want you to pay for therapy, which, one, there's not enough therapists in the United States to help people, but there's plenty of drugs. And if you do have access to a therapist, I think with my insurance, like, therapy is like $190 an hour. Okay, so I think my antidepressant medication is like, I want to say it's probably about $7 with my insurance copay. It's about $7. I think it's like $55 without my insurance. So it's just way more economical for me, and I think way more effective for me to be on antidepressants rather than trying to get expensive therapy that I just cannot afford. I can't afford to pay $190 for one 1-hour session. I don't even think I could afford that every 3 months. It's taking a big chunk out. I got bills and stuff like everybody else. So that's just not adequate for me to do that. And I think we need to be a little more. Doctors, you overdiagnose a lot of people, but that's not our fault that you failed. America's failed to get diversity into fields of medicine. That's the field of medicine did that to themselves. Just like police departments made themselves into the organizations that they are. Through their own choices, and only through their own choices are they going to be able to get themselves out of the situations they've put themselves in. That's for every industry, motorcycle industry or whatever, but that includes the mental health, medical industry, and so don't let the stigma stop you. It's 2020. Don't wait any longer, man. You need to go in. If you're having trouble, now is the time. If you don't have insurance or whatever, talk to somebody, because they may be able to get you into a program, or they may know somebody, or there may be programs in your area that can get you help without insurance. And I waited 5 years too long, honestly, and I should have did something about my mental health 5 years ago. But I just let it burn and burn until I just, like I say, I could barely make it through the day, and eventually I couldn't even make it through the day. Things are way better for me now that I did address my mental health and my physical health. And kind of really re-engage me back in life, where now I can feel like, if I'm ready to move on, I actually have the ability mentally and physically to do so. So, that's all for today, guys. Take care of your mental health. Don't wait a day longer. Stay away from these micro COVIDiots out here. Wear your gear and ride safe. Elijah out.